everyone! Bishop Patrick L. Wooden Sr., one of the most outspoken and controversial voices in the modern Black church, has spent decades building both a loyal following and a long list of critics. Known for his fiery sermons, unapologetic stances on cultural issues, and his refusal to bend under the pressure of political correctness. But for years, many people have quietly wondered what it was like to be his son, to grow up in the shadow of such a powerful and polarizing figure. And until recently, those questions went unanswered. Until Bishop Wooden's son finally spoke up, breaking his silence in a way that has left both churchgoers and observers stunned. Because instead of simply echoing his father's views or remaining a background figure, he decided to tell his own story, one filled with insights, struggles, and revelations that shed a new light on the man behind the pulpit and the family dynamics behind the public persona. And what makes this so significant is the fact that for years, Bishop Wooden has presented himself as the strong, unwavering shepherd of his congregation, a man who stands on absolute conviction, but now his own son is revealing how difficult it was to live up to those expectations. How the weight of being raised by someone with such an intense, uncompromising personality left scars, challenges, and ultimately a journey toward finding his own identity outside of his father's towering presence. And in his words, there was both respect and criticism, because on one hand he acknowledged the discipline, the structure, and the sense of purpose his father instilled in him. But on the other hand, he also spoke about the emotional toll, the feeling of constantly being measured against an impossible standard, and the isolation that comes from being forced to maintain an image that didn't always match reality. And these revelations have embarrassed some of Wooden's most loyal supporters while validating what critics have long suspected, that behind the shouting, the bold proclamations, and the headline-making soundbites, there was a human cost borne by those closest to him. And Wooden's son also opened up about the way his father's controversial stances on social issues created tension in the family, as younger generations often felt torn between respecting tradition and embracing a more compassionate, nuanced approach to faith. And his decision to finally speak out has sparked intense debates, not just about Bishop Wooden himself, but about the pressure placed on pastors' children in general, who are often expected to embody perfection while living under a microscope that amplifies every mistake. And while some church members have rushed to defend Bishop Wooden, insisting that his son's words are being twisted by those who want to discredit him, others see this moment as a reckoning, a reminder that leaders who wield great influence must also be mindful of how their choices and styles impact the people closest to them, and whether you see it as an act of courage or as betrayal. The fact remains that Bishop Wooden's son speaking up has shifted the narrative, adding a personal, human layer to a man who has long seemed larger than life. And as more people react to these revelations, the story continues to grow, not just as family drama, but as a symbol of the larger conversation about authenticity, accountability, and the hidden struggles behind the glossy images projected from the pulpit, meaning that this moment will likely be remembered as a turning point, not only for the Wooden family, but for the broader church community that is now forced to grapple with the reality that even the most powerful leaders cannot control the voices of those who know them best. Bishop Patrick L. Wooden Sr. is the jurisdictional bishop of the North Carolina 3rd Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction of the Church of God in Christ, COGIC, and a prominent gospel preacher known for his outspoken commentary on social and moral issues from a biblical perspective. He has served as a COGIC leader for decades, including as a jurisdictional first assistant and executive administrative assistant, and is the senior pastor of Upper Room Church of God in Christ in Raleigh, North Carolina. He holds a doctorate of divinity from the North Carolina College of Theology. Thanks for watching.